And then Cunningham gets into the face of DiJonai Carrington.
To stop acting like somebody that's speaking up on behalf of girls, like a Sophie Cunningham, like a Riley Gaines, are scourges of the earth. That is an irresponsible thing to do. You are a coach for a female basketball.
Things just got serious for DJ Carrington. Florida's Attorney General stepped in with a warning, while the WNBA only handed out a $1,000 fine and stayed silent on that white privilege post. Meanwhile, head coach Stephanie White says she never even saw the Cunningham clothesline live, even though it earned a flagrant 2 and an ejection in her own game. That's when Stephen A. Smith went off. Staring straight into the camera, he asked the question everyone was thinking. How do you not see the play? Watching the game is literally your job. And just 4 days later, Carrington was back on the court against the Golden State Valkyries, hitting 2 more players above the neck.
I didn't see the play in real time. I went straight to a press conference. The stuff that's trying to hijack our league will not win. Love will win. Grace will win. Humility will win. And kindness will win. I stand by them. I will always stand by them. Everybody else can go to hell.
No ejection this time. No flagrant call either. And Stephen A. Smith has officially run out of patience. Post-game, White told reporters she didn't catch the Cunningham foul live and had nothing more to say about it. That's when Smith stopped holding back completely. You're the head coach. How do you miss that play? Watching the game is your one job. How does that happen?
We'll go high. Love, grace, humility will win. And then you tell everybody to go to hell. You think that's going to work for you, Coach White? Think that's going to work for you? The reality of the situation is none of that stuff will win if it's left up to you, Stephanie White. Because you're not handling it right. You playing right into their hands. Right into their hands.
The second those words left White's mouth, there was no walking them back. She told reporters she didn't believe Carrington meant to catch Cunningham across the neck like that. Then, somehow, she went even further, praising Carrington's fire on the court. One thing about her, she's gonna play her butt off, man. And get this is the same Stephanie White who coached Carrington back at the Connecticut Sun.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was a hard foul. I don't think that DiJonai intentionally came out to get her across the neck like she did. But it did happen, and I thought it was the right call. But, you know, one of the things about Nay is that she's going to play her butt off, man. She's going to compete. Nobody's going to go walking in for a layup. And so I don't oppose the hard foul. But I also don't think that she intentionally went for the neck.
Same Stephanie White, and her post-game defense of the very opponent who left her own player bleeding from the lip turned into the week's second biggest headline. Smith caught it right away. Her own player down on the floor. A flagrant 2, an ejection. And at the podium, all White had was, I didn't see it, and she plays hard. Smith wasn't buying a word of it.
Take a walk with me, take a walk with me, take a walk with me. There is craziness going on in the WNBA. DiJonai Carrington tweeted out white privilege from the locker room of a game that she was playing in. Get this. She fouls Sophie Cunningham hard. Sophie Cunningham, obviously a white person, fouls her hard. Flagrant 2, gets ejected, goes to the locker room and tweets out white privilege in the middle of the game. Now here's the kicker to me. A flagrant 2 has to be contact that can lead to an injury that looks excessive. DiJonai, it was about as excessive as possible. If there was any evidence of there being white privilege, this was...
Nobody saw this coming. Not the players, not the league, not even the fans who've watched this drama unfold all season. But now the Florida Attorney General himself is putting DJ Carrington on notice and the WNBA's response. A $1,000 fine and total silence on the post that started it all. Let's rewind. Stephanie White stood at the podium and said she never saw Sophie Cunningham get clotheslined in real time. A flagrant 2, an ejection, in her own game, on her own team. And Stephen A. Smith wasn't buying a single word of it. He looked dead into the camera and asked the question the whole league was thinking. You're the head coach. How do you not see that? Watching the game is literally the job description. 4 days later, Carrington was right back on the floor against the Golden State Valkyries, and she caught 2 more players above the neck. No ejection, no flagrant call, nothing. That's when Smith stopped being diplomatic about it. After the Cunningham foul, White told reporters she hadn't seen it live and had nothing more to add. Smith went nuclear. You're telling me the head coach missed the play? That's your one job. Watch the game. How does that happen? And here's the thing. White's excuse fell apart the second it left her mouth. She said she didn't believe Carrington meant to hit Cunningham across the neck like that. Then, somehow, she doubled down, praising Carrington's intensity. One thing about her, she plays her butt off. Remember, this is the same Stephanie White who once coached Carrington back at the Connecticut Sun. So her defending an opponent who left her own player bleeding from the lip. That became the second biggest story of the entire week. Smith called it out instantly. Her own player on the ground. A flagrant 2, an ejection, and all White could offer at the podium was, "I didn't see it." And she plays hard. He wasn't letting that slide. Then Smith went somewhere nobody expected. He turned his attention to Caitlin Clark. Clark had emotionally defended White after the game, saying she'd told her coach before tip-off, "There's no way we're losing this game for you." Smith's response was blunt. "Congratulations, that's a statement that says absolutely nothing." He pointed out that if this were the men's league, people wouldn't just be asking questions, they'd be demanding real answers. He wanted the tension named directly, the boos raining down on White at a home game. Not a road game, a home game, in Indiana, her own building, her own fans turning on her. And while Cunningham and Clark both spoke up for their coach, which Smith admitted they had every right to do, he wanted more. He wanted Clark to address Carrington directly, to address the white privilege post, to address everything the league has dodged all season long. But true to form, Clark gave her standard answer. Let the governing bodies handle it. Focus on basketball. Let the league figure it out. And for the first time all season, Smith pushed back on that response. He laid out the impossible spot White is in. She knows Carrington personally, knows she's not a bad person, but now she's coaching under a fan base with ties to conservative political money, a fan base that pushed back hard when she defended Carrington. Carrington herself later said she doesn't take it personally when people question whether she has her teammates' backs, and made it clear where she stands on other hot-button debates in the sport, brushing off critics as, in her words, not worth engaging with. What makes this moment so significant is simple. The most trusted voice in sports media and the most influential player in women's basketball are no longer seeing eye to eye. That alone tells you how deep this situation has gotten. And then Smith delivered the line that's now been quoted across every sports platform out there. His complete take on the league's refusal to set clear rules while complaining that everything gets turned political. Stop whining about things getting politicized and actually do something so they can't be politicized. Do something or suck it up. Those are your only two options. That single sentence became Smith's entire verdict on the WNBA's 2026 season. Here's how we got here. Sophie Cunningham took a brutal hit to the face during a game, and the player responsible, DiJonai Carrington, was ejected after officials ruled it a flagrant 2. Minutes after getting tossed, Carrington posted the words "white privilege" on social media, tagging the Indiana Fever. This all came after weeks of backlash aimed at Cunningham for speaking out on transgender inclusion policies in the league. The white privilege post, "Do something or suck it up." The eligibility debate, "Do something or suck it up." 3 separate players hit in the face within 4 days. Do something or suck it up. Every single time, the league picked option 2. And now the consequences of always picking option 2 have landed hard. A warning from a state attorney general, a fine that changed absolutely nothing, and a player who, just 4 days after a flagrant 2 ejection, was back on the court hitting Valkyrie's players above the neck with 0 additional punishment. Not everyone agrees the outrage is fair, though. Some longtime fans have pushed back, saying they're exhausted with the constant narrative around Cunningham and the Fever, arguing that plenty of what happens on the court is just basketball. Collisions, contact, players going up for blocks, and missing. They point out that Cunningham has built a reputation for turning every moment into a social media clip, and that some of the backlash toward Carrington ignores that context. They also argue the flagrant call itself was debatable, since a defender jumping to block a layup and catching the head isn't always intentional. But even those critics admit what happened next. Cunningham getting in Carrington's face, tensions boiling over, fed straight into a much bigger, uglier wave of online racism directed at black players who go up against the Fever and Clark specifically. Multiple players have reportedly acknowledged privately that going up against certain matchups now comes with the understanding that if anything controversial happens, they'll be facing racist attacks online regardless of intent. Meanwhile, Florida's Attorney General publicly warned Carrington directly over that white privilege post tied to the Cunningham incident. Think about that for a second. A sitting state attorney general getting involved in a professional athlete's social media post. That's the direct result of the league's silence. Smith addressed it head-on, questioning whether the same attorney general would have stepped in if the political message had run in the opposite direction. Whether or not the AG's motivation was political, Smith argued, it doesn't erase what the post said. It doesn't erase the ejection. It doesn't erase the timeline. And it doesn't erase the fact that the WNBA fined Carrington $1,000 and said nothing publicly about a racially charged post that turned a basketball foul into a national political firestorm. The league left the door wide open, Smith said, and now they're shocked people are walking through it. Supporters of Carrington have pushed the narrative that she's simply not a dirty player, that this is just how she plays. But critics have compiled a growing list that argues otherwise. Scratching incidents, players chased down and hit from behind, hair pulling, repeated head area contact leading to multiple on-court altercations. The argument from that camp is straightforward. This isn't about race. It's about a documented pattern of dangerous plays that the league keeps letting slide. Then came Monday. Carrington went back on social media claiming people were misrepresenting her original post, only to get accused of gaslighting because of the timing and because she never actually explained what she meant. Think about the sequence here. She posted white privilege 8 minutes after getting ejected, tagged the Fever, then went private when the internet reacted. She showed up to a Monday press conference calling the hit never intentional, then went right back online to say people were twisting her words. In almost any other league, that sequence draws a fine, a suspension, or both. Even Florida's Attorney General weighed in publicly, warning that assault charges could follow if similar conduct happened in his state. Voices from across the political spectrum, sports commentators who rarely agree on anything, landed in the exact same place on this one. Turning a flagrant 2 ejection on a clean breakaway into a race narrative isn't defensible, no matter where you stand politically. Fans online have been just as vocal, with growing calls for the league to step in before players start policing each other on the court, warning that the alternative is chaos. Some have gone as far as calling for Carrington to be removed from the sport entirely. There's also been real, thoughtful conversation about privilege itself, the idea that pretty privilege, tall privilege, and yes, white privilege are all real things worth acknowledging. Commentators have pointed to athletes like Brittany Griner, who had to go overseas to get properly paid, as evidence that race and pay gaps in women's sports are legitimate ongoing issues. And through all of it, there's been genuine support for Clark specifically, sports figures rooting for her success, while also hoping other young stars like Aaliyah Boston get to shine too, frustrated that so much energy goes into pulling one player down instead of lifting the whole league up. One social media post summed up the entire situation in a single sentence, comparing Carrington to Draymond Green, a player who will always be both hated and celebrated, who will never change how she plays, and who gets defended by former players and coaches every single time, especially when the player she hits is white. Jason Whitlock, who warned months ago that Carrington would seriously hurt someone if the league didn't step in, was proven right, and he's already back pointing at the next players caught in the crossfire while the league continues to sit on its hands. So here's where we actually stand. Carrington says it was never intentional. Her coach says she didn't see it. The league fined her $1,000. A state attorney general had to step in and issue a warning. And Stephen A. Smith's verdict still stands. Do something or suck it up. Some critics have gone even further, arguing that because the league refuses to hand out real punishment, this isn't white privilege at all. It's the privilege of knowing nothing meaningful will ever happen, and that if the roles were reversed, the player on the other side of this controversy might never play professionally again. Caitlin Clark said focus on basketball. 4 days later, Carrington hit 2 more players above the neck. No ejection, no flagrant, and a fan even got pulled from the arena over an unfounded complaint. The league keeps choosing to do nothing, and now a state attorney general is doing the job the WNBA front office won't. So here's the real question. Is do something or suck it up the most accurate way to sum up the WNBA's entire conduct crisis this season? And has DiJonai Carrington now proven, beyond any doubt, that a $1,000 fine isn't stopping anything. Drop your take in the comments below. Do you think the league finally acts, or does this keep happening? And if you want to stay locked in on every twist in this story as it develops, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this one is far from over.